Hey guys, this is Lisa from TRW, and in this video I am going to be wood burning this sign blank that I got from Target. This is part of my Target Fall Dollar Spot haul. This is another cool sign that you can use for the holidays, you can use for fall. This is using just vinyl as a stencil, and then I took a wood burning tool and I used it to wood burn it. So I'm going to go over the process of what I did for this, and then at the end you will see that I did have some difficulty and I will explain it there. So I am over here in Silhouette Studio. I'm setting up my design. Now what I did for the panels is I typed out Hayrides, Hot Cocoa, and Apple Pie. This I used a font called Hayden. You can see it up here. This point size, I think this is 116 point, but essentially I wanted this to be a little less than 2 inches tall. So these are all set. I'm going to set it up like that. Now you can interchange it for whatever fall phrases you would like for that. And then I want these cute little apples on the bottom. So these apples actually came from a pack that we have, and I altered it to fit, to work for what I need it to do. So I'm going to show you what I did right here. So this is from Cute Food Pack Volume 3. This is one of the apples. So I'm going to right click and ungroup it. And so I only want to keep the leaf, stem, and the red part. So I'm going to hold down Shift, click on these three, move it to the side. So now you can see all of that I don't need. I'm going to hit delete. So right here, this is all going to be one color. So I'm just going to convert this over to one object, right click, make compound path. So now you can see we have it set up like that. But now that I look at it, I forgot one step. I'm going to release, I'm going to go ahead and go back, hit Control Z, and I'm going to take this stem and this leaf, and I'm just going to nudge it down a little bit. And the reason why this needs to be nudged down is this was originally made to factor in that black outline around everything, and I don't have it right now. So I'm going to go ahead, hit Control E to make compound path, and I'm going to convert it over to this dark red. I just went and used the eyedropper and selected this color over here. So now I need 2 apples on each side. I'm going to do my favorite way to duplicate something. I'm going to hold Alt button and hover over. This makes a plus sign. We're going to click and drag to the side. So we have one right here. I'm just going to go ahead, use this arrow or box right here to make this smaller. Maybe not that small. We're just going to go ahead, make this slightly smaller, overlap, and then we're going to repeat the same process over here. And now I'm going to right click and I'm going to flip horizontally. So now you can edit this how you want. I'm going to kind of make this in a little bit more so that the edge is like that. And then I'm going to move this in a little bit more as well. Alright, so we have that all set. So now I'm going to select my first apple. I'm going to change the color so we can see the difference. So you can see that this is behind my apples. I want to take this and make an outline around it and have this apple up front. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to bring to front. So now I need to make the outline that will be cut out from the apples. We're going to go over to the offset panel over here on the right. It's the one that looks like a star. We're going to hit offset, and so you can see there's one in there already. I'm going to do 0.06, so you can see that right there. Hit apply. Now when you make an offset in Silhouette Studio, that's the last thing you have selected. So I hit this gray button so you could see the offset there. And so now I want to cut out my outline from these bottom 2 apples. So what I will be using is a subtract, and what subtract does is it takes your top object selected and it deletes it, it cuts it out from the bottom object. So technically there are 2 objects below it. There's this apple and this apple. We want it to be cut out the same. We want it to be treated as one. So I'm going to hold down Shift, click on both apples, and I'm going to right click and group them. So now I can grab my outline right here, hold down Shift, grab my apples back here, and then we're going to go over to the modify panel. It's over on the right. It's right above the offset panel, and hit subtract. So we have that set right here. So now this can all be treated as one object again. So I'm going to select all of this here, make compound path, and then let's change that color to a nice red. So now we have our fall apples. So a great way to use designs you may already have from the rhinestone world and set it up so that you can use it for a fun fall type of project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up. This is the board that it's going to be going on. So I'm just going to click on this one and see how wide it is. So this right here is what? 5, almost 6 inches wide. So I'm just going to take my measuring tape, make sure that it fits within my boxes. And it definitely does. This is about 10 inches wide. So we're gonna go ahead and set this up to cut. So what we're gonna do with this one is I'm actually gonna try to wood burn this. So I wanna set up each one of my, I don't know, words and objects in a box, and I want this box to be pretty wide because this is going to use as a stencil. So we're gonna go over here, and these are not gonna be applied all together, so it's okay that they're not lined up or anything like that because we're going to be doing something different with them. So I'm gonna go ahead, bring this over, and make my lines off of here. And sorry if my voice is kind of weird. I'm getting over a cold, so you know, my voice is just a little weak. So I'm going to set this up right here and then do one more box on this so I can set that up as a stencil. So I'm going to be cutting this out on FDC decal vinyl. I'm going to select this all over here, go to my send panel, and then this is actually the last setting that I used on there. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to put my vinyl in there, and I'm going to cut it. All right, so I have my stencils cut out already. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and take my scissors and trim this off, just so I can save this vinyl for later. And this is FDC decal vinyl. This is in white. You can use any color for this because you're just using it as a stencil, but this is what I had the most of, so this is what I used. So the difference between making a normal decal and making a stencil is that we are going to weed out the sections that we want our design to be in because, again, this is a stencil. So I'm going to go ahead, take this hayride out. You may have your corners lift up a little bit depending on, you know, how much your blade has been used. Just be careful that you're keeping these middle parts in. But you can see I'm, you know, it's coming up relatively easy for me. We have that. So there's one. So let's do our hot cocoa. So we're in Florida, so it's not like we have like a whole lot of hay rides or like, you know, fall things, but I still like doing this. I mean, there's still farms around here that do their fall festival. It's always interesting though, because like, it's not super cold out. Like you might get lucky one weekend, but really I saw a meme that was like, it's summer with pumpkins, and that's pretty much what it is. But it's always nice to enjoy and at least have that aesthetic inside. So you can see my A was catching a little bit, but I just held it down. And so we're gonna go ahead, do this again. And I'm gonna turn this to make it a little bit easier on me. So we have that. And so whenever I have big pieces like this, I always like to just use my weeding tool and flatten this right on my hand. I find it the easiest just because I can kind of just tap it on there. So I have that, and now we're just going to do our little apples right here. This one might be trickier because there are some little sections in there, so I just want to be careful. I'm going to kind of peel right here. So what you can do when little sections seem to be coming up is you can hold down with your weeding tool the sections that are supposed to stay down. It works out pretty easily. All right, so then we have this little guy. So hindsight, I shouldn't have brought my stem and leaf so far down. It's a little close to my apple, but hey, everything's a learning experience. I think I was still kind of setting it up to be like, you know, a typical decal, not this reverse decal, but I think it'll still look good. And I can adjust it as I go when I wood burn. All right, so we have that. So now all of our stencils are weeded out. You can take this little wad of vinyl off. Now we're going to set it up like that. And I am actually going to put my tape on now because I can cover a wider area and it won't be as much waste with my application tape. So I'm going to bring this over. This is non-sticky side down. This is how I figure out the right length to do. So that's good. I'm going to go ahead, bring this over. So now we know we can put it down on here. We have a little bubbling, but that's not a big deal. It'll still pick it up. And then we just want a little bit more app tape for down there. So now we're just going to go ahead, cut out our sections. So we have this one. This one. And these two. Okay, so now we're going to start laying this out on our board, which I have right here. So I'm just going to turn it towards me so I can see how to apply it. All right, so let's go ahead and peel this up. So you can see this outside part is coming up perfectly. That's because my tape didn't go all the way on the edges of here, so it didn't have anything to pull it up with. So we have that set. So now I'm going to figure out where I want this to be on there. You can measure if you want. Me personally, I don't care enough to measure. So I'm going to smooth this. So you can see it's pulling at my vinyl a little bit. I'm going to smooth it again once my tape is up. Sometimes the tape, because it's thicker, it'll almost like add resistance to it. So you can smooth it again once it's down. So we have hay rides, hot cocoa, apple pie, or should I do apple pie, hot cocoa? I'm going to do hot cocoa, then apple pie. Thanks for your vote, guys. So then we have our hot cocoa here. All right, so we're going to set this up. Smooth it down. And again, it's okay if it feels like it's lifting a little bit when your tape comes up, because we can re-smooth that. That's not a big deal. One way that you can help with that is if you pull almost perpendicular to the table instead of pulling up, pull perpendicular. Right, so now we're going to do apple pie. Cool thing about apple pie is it's a summer or fall dish. You know, like apple pie in the summer, it's American as apple pie, but then you have apple pie in the fall. What's your favorite pie? If you're still listening this far, I'm very pleased. So leave me a comment and let me know what your favorite pie is. Mine is pumpkin. The other day, I went to go buy a pie. I went to go buy pumpkin pie. I was very excited about it, and I found a box that said pumpkin pie. And there was another one that was what I thought was mislabeled, and it said potato pie. And like, don't get me wrong, I love sweet potatoes, but I don't want sweet potato when I want a pumpkin pie. So I go and I'm like, whew, dodge that bullet. Well, I cut a piece of pie, start eating it. Guess what? It was potato pie. My pumpkin pie was mislabeled, and the potato, they were switched, and I was so annoyed. Ugh, has that ever happened to you? Have you ever had potato pie thinking it was pumpkin pie? Like, it's not entirely bad, but it's not what I wanted, and I was very unhappy about that. All right, we are smoothing it. Now, typically at this point, I use chalk to fill in my stencil, but I don't know where my chalk is. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to do the next best thing, and I'm going to use a pencil. So we're just going to take my pencil and literally just color this in. And the reason why I like using chalk or pencil is because it's easy to clean out after. So when I wood burn this, whatever stray lead might be in there, I can just take that and use an eraser. Chalk, I wipe off the whole thing with like a wet paper towel or something, and it's totally fine. So we're just going over there. I'm not super worried about filling it in. I just want to make sure my edges are really good, because that's what I'm going to be using as a guide. So we're just going to go through there. So I'm going to fill this in. I won't talk through that because I'm just going to fast forward because it's going to be a little bit boring. And then we'll start wood burning. Okay, so this is all filled in. My suggestion, use chalk. I hated using a pencil, but you know, it is what it is. So now we're going to peel up the vinyl. As you can see, I'm already doing that. And the spots where I have pencil, you can see my outline. So I'm going to use this as my guide for my wood burning tool. So we're just peeling this up. And if you ask, Lisa, I saw your other video. Don't you have that cool wood burning pen? I do. But I already tried it on the back of this and it's not burning. So if you can find me a type of wood or a type of sign that pen works on, I'd love to know, because right now it feels like I have a dud. So let's just go ahead and peel this up. Take out these middle sections. All right. So I have my wood burner next to me. I have it on a ceramic plate, so don't worry, I'm not burning myself. And I'm not burning my tablecloth. I heard you. I saw the comments about you thought I was going to burn my tablecloth, so don't worry, I'm okay. So I'm just going to adjust my camera. 1 second. Okay, I had to bring this closer to me because my wood burner doesn't reach that far. So now I'm just going to take this and follow this outline. Good thing is this is like really turning dark like right away. So I don't have to put too much time or effort into this. And I'm just gliding along. So I'm going to keep doing this and then we'll be back. Okay guys, so it is a totally different day. It's actually almost a week later. The sign is finally done. Now, there's a couple reasons why this is a different day. First of all, one, I started filming that video at 10 o'clock at night, so it was kind of late. Now, these sections burned really great, but these two panels right here were a little bit tricky because they have almost like a coating on it. I think it's the paint. So this one took a really long time to burn. Now I kind of figured out a better way with this bottom one. What I did, excuse me, what I did is because there was a coating, I took my wood burning tool and went over it really quickly, and it kind of took that coating off. I just kind of scratched it a little bit, and then afterwards I went in with my wood burner again, and I was able to fill this in with a nice little wood burn. So my piece of advice, if you get this sign, now this sign was $3 at Target, really cute. You can wood burn it. I will say it did take me a long time. There are other options that you can do. Decal vinyl is fine. It's a holiday decoration. Paint is great. You can use our vinyl as a stencil and paint it. Or honestly, what I love to do is I love applying HTV to wood. You can get it done pretty quickly. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this does stagger. You can see right there. So you don't want to use a heat press on this because it won't touch these bottom ones. So if you use heat transfer vinyl, use an iron or something like that. But that is my fall wood burning sign. Hopefully you liked it. Hopefully this gave you some ideas. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you are not already subscribed to us on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more videos.